Great news, Keeper. Upon learning of Nemesis' plans to ally with the Dark Angels, the king has ordered his 3 sons to personally ambush and destroy Carrion. The princes fought well, and although Carrion still breathes, he has been turned from his black quest. We have a little more time than before. Fluttershine. This fair land is troubled by talk of a dark uprising within its borders. If you arrive in time, you may be able to enlist the help of the ringleaders and have them aid you in your quest to kill Lord Voltstag and claim his portal gem as your own. Too late, Keeper. The invasion has been nipped in the bud, and those who would have seated themselves upon the throne can now be found imprisoned and under guard. If they were to be rescued, though, I'm sure they would have no hesitation in helping you to defeat their conquerors. There's history here that we can use, for in this realm a dark crusade was thwarted by the good, and those who led it now are held against their will while urged to mend the error of their ways. If you can free the infidels, so happy might they be to carry on their siege and serve your needs as well as theirs. At last, the Black Knight realizes that honor, justice, and piety are just plain boring. So he joins your evil cause, which allows him plenty time for pillaging and killing. Such pure sport becomes him. Combat Pit.
Hello there, this is Uncle Troy. Today we are playing Dungeon Keeper 2. We are about 3/4 of the way through the single-player campaign. Now in the land of Fluttershine, playing the mission Crusade. 15A, I'm going to call it. In this mission, we finally get our combat pit. We also see the Black Knights. And we may never see the Black Knights again, because sometimes there's this glitch and they just don't appear in the later levels, no matter how many combat pits you build.
Ah, I see you have discovered a magical item.
In this land, we have no portal. And we also do not start off with any creatures under our control. So about the only way to even have a chance at this is, actually there's 2 ways. One is to sneak around to the back here and capture these prisons where the Black Knights are being held. And once the prisons are under your control, the Black Knights can leave and join your cause. The other way is there is a troll and a workshop hidden around here somewhere. I'll have to go looking for it later. And I suppose one could make a collection of traps and then open up an area to let the guards be attacked by the traps and knocked down, and then your imps can drag them off and put them in a prison of your own making where you can convert them. I've actually never tried it that way. I may have to try that later. I'll let you know how that works out. In the meantime, however, we will attempt to capture these prisons, gather a force of Black Knights, use them to take out these guards, and then eventually take on the fairy castle.
You have taken over an enemy prison.
Unfortunately, while I was trying to capture the prison, a couple of guards made their way toward my dungeon heart, but luckily I got a couple of Black Knights just in time, and they should make short work of these guards.
Your creatures will starve if you do not build them a hatchery. You have taken over an enemy prison. You have taken over an enemy prison. A Black Knight has become unhappy because he has no food.
Because of their time in prison there, the Black Knights are kind of bitter and anger easily. I think that may just be a standard character trait for them. Might just not be this level, but It's kind of hard to keep them happy. So your options are to either try to finish the level before they get too angry, or try to finish the level using mostly converted creatures. And I kind of go both ways here.
You have taken over an enemy prison. You have claimed a mana vault.
Okay, I think that's got the final prison and the last of the knights that we can gather from said prisons. There's still one more knight in the combat pit, which we still need to capture. But we've got to get through all these doors first.
Your minions need a larger training room. You have successfully converted an enemy creature in the torture chamber.
Yes. Here down to the south and east is that troll and workshop I was talking about earlier. He's not all that great. I think he's supposed to be an elite creature. You know, faster and stronger than other trolls, but it turns out he isn't. He's just a plain old troll. But still, you know, any troll's better than no trolls, so we'll go ahead and convert him here. Or recruit him, I should say.
Meet Nud the Mad, a famous troll, prodigious in his work, but worse than all in temperament. Still, his toil bears fruits which balance his unpleasant moods. You have claimed a workshop.
You have my allegiance, Keeper. Don't abuse it.
Now that we have over 100,000 mana, we can summon Horny, the Horned Reaper, anytime we want. I don't really want to just yet, but he will come in handy later for taking most of the fight out of the fairy fortress for us. Here in the center we have our combat pit that we can claim once we get rid of these annoying sentry traps. Lots and lots of doors here to batter our way through.
You have taken over an enemy combat pit. The Pit. This room is an arena where your creatures prove their prowess in such martial sports. Place 2 or more therein and watch them fight each other unto death. And thus the victor's trained to higher levels in its combat skills.
As a side effect, a creature left in the combat pit will not get angry or hungry or want pay. So they can survive indefinitely there.
Your creatures are unable to get to a lair.
Also, if you use the heal spell, the creatures can battle pretty much forever. They don't have to die. And if you make sure your imps rescue them, they won't die even if they lose.
It is payday. You have claimed a mana vault. Behold, Keeper, a new area of map uncovered, previously unseen.
And it looks like over here we have us a pretty high level knight who has already killed a bunch of heroes around this hero gate and destroyed it for us. If we can get over here fast enough, we might can drag some of these dead heroes or dying heroes back to prison and torture chamber and use them against the fairies over here. While your training room can only train creatures up to level 4, the combat pit can train them up to level 8. Of course, there's also the risk that the creatures will die if the imps don't rescue them soon enough. And you can also burn a lot of mana trying to keep them healed.
Your combat pit is too small.
You can build a larger combat pit here, but gold is kind of scarce, so I just try to cycle my creatures through. As you know, the creatures fall in combat, then I just send them off to be healed, and then I bring more in. By the way, you can drop unconverted heroes into the combat pit. They will also fight, and they will also gain levels, but you don't really want them gaining levels until you've converted them to your cause, because the higher level the creature is, the more powerful it is, the longer it takes to convert it.
You have successfully converted an enemy creature in the torture chamber. You have successfully converted an enemy creature in the torture chamber. You have successfully converted an enemy creature in the torture chamber. You have successfully converted an enemy creature in the torture chamber. You have successfully converted an enemy creature in the torture chamber.
I tend to go overboard with capturing and converting enemy creatures, and I'll also waste money building bridges.
Your Thunderbolt spell has been upgraded.
I'll waste money building bridges out to places just so I can pick up enemy creatures for conversion. It just seems like a waste of resources not to use these creatures, but I know I don't need to. I know I already have enough creatures on hand now to take out the Fairy Fortress and Lord Bullfrog. And also, I don't need all these spells that I'm researching, but I've got all these converted creatures working on researching spells. That's just the way I play the game. Okay, now that I've got all my spells researched and a lot of my creatures trained up to pretty high levels, it's time to waste some mana with the Horned Reaper here and let him take out most of these. Yeah, we're still training here. Take out most of these fairies and their support staff for us. That way we don't have to spend a lot of time just battling room for room here. As you can see, the Reaper makes short work of pretty much any enemy creature he goes up against. He's immune to most spells. The Fairy's Lightning isn't stunning him or knocking him back.
Your Tremor spell has been upgraded. Keeper, if Horny becomes too much for you to handle, a single slap will expel him from your domain.
As time goes on, Horny draws more and more mana. So, and when you run out of mana completely, he just goes away.
A wizard has become unhappy because he hasn't been paid.
And at this point, I remembered I had that special spell that would actually increase my mana reserves, and I could have used that to keep the Keeper going a little bit longer.
Your Turncoat spell has been upgraded. There is nothing left to research.
Once again, by using the simple expedient of dropping the Call to Arm flag near the enemy and dropping all my creatures at the nearest claimed land, we managed to take out the fairies pretty quickly, and then we can lead our creatures on to Lord Bullfrog, who I believe is hidden back here somewhere. I was trying to take out these hero gates here, but I forgot there was sentry traps behind these walls. So I'm trying to clear them out for the For the imps to claim them means that the sentry traps attack the imps, and the imps say, nope, I'm not going to do that anymore. Yeah, there's the Lord way back there. I can't place the call to arms flag on top of him because that land hasn't been discovered yet, I guess is how you say it. Still obscured by the fog of war, I believe is what we're supposed to say. And also I think we're cheating here a little bit. The game is, because you'll see in a second here, when I finally get them to attack that magic door and try to take on Lord Volstagg, as soon as they take the magic door out here, you see that there is a spike trap underneath it, which immediately damages my creatures. And you shouldn't be able to put a door, you know, right on top of the trap.
Incarcerate me, would you now? Hold men against their will? I'll make you suffer for such deeds, you fairies foul!
You know, I just realized something. The Lord there is complaining that we're incarcerating people, holding them against their will. But those are his prisons. He's the one that captured the Black Knights and we're holding them against their will. And all we did was free them and then use his own prison against his heroes. Okay, so that was level 15. I'm going to call it 15A. The option where you do not get to the land in time to assist with the rebellion. And you have to rescue the Black Knights after they've been captured. The other option, which I'm going to call 15B, and we'll see next time, is that you do get there in time and do get to assault the fairy fortress.
The lightning trap zaps enemies with an electrifying discharge. To enemy eyes, the secret door resembles a solid wall. Who should have thought that such delicate-looking creatures could put up such a brave fight, eh, Keeper? Lord Volstagg's portal gem is the greatest prize amongst all your victorious campaigns. Well met, Keeper. The king is becoming very worried about your constant victories. He has now sent the 3 princes out into the kingdom to stir up support against you. I am sure this will ultimately prove fruitless, as fear will keep the populace in check.
Okay, that's all there is for this level. Join us next time for level 15B. In the meantime, this is Uncle Troy signing off. Please have a good night.